Imagine you try to find out the answer to an important question, or you want to understand a subject that you are passionate about. In your search for answers, you will find opposing viewpoints or evidence. Here I'll talk about what paths you could take, what might motivate you in following a course of action, succeeded by the outcomes of your choice. You start with your current perspective on the subject. As with any subject, your understanding doesn't cover every possible interpretation. Let's consider what will happen if you are honest to yourself, you understand your position, and you want to have the most complete pictures of what you want to study. What I will try to convince you of is why having unquestionable dogma will not be in your advantage. So you encounter the first opposing viewpoint or evidence. You've never heard it before. You might be intrigued by this perspective, confused, or even angry. But you realize that it would be in your best interest to understand it before you decide to either accept or reject it. Why would you want to understand it? Well, if you have no other reason, consider that if you study a subject more in depth than hearing its name and basic definition, you might discover an idea that you agreed with but you didn't know how to express it, and now you can. Sometimes understanding a subject might require intense interest, but if you end up reading 30 books on a particular issue, I say you're exaggerating. Let's go back to our main subject. You have your opinion and a contradicting idea. There are two scenarios. In one of them, your position is true and the new idea isn't. You could either reject the idea, but now you know at least in general why it's wrong, or, in case you didn't see its flaws, you accept it. In this case, if you continue to research the subject, even if 1 hour per week or by occasionally bringing it into discussion, you eventually realize why this idea was wrong, so you just consume some time, but now you understand its shortcomings and what could make it appealing to others. Scenario number 2, your position is not entirely correct and you could gain something by partially accepting the contradicting idea. If you do so, you will come closer to the reality you want to understand, which was your goal from the start. But let's focus on what happens if you refuse to accept the idea despite knowing that it is true, or at least is more correct than what you currently claim. Two things follow out of this. You both A. support a different cause than you intend to, and B. because you are misrepresenting the facts that you discovered, people with a better understanding of the subject will know that you are not right. Remember that you actually have the same goal in mind as them, so when they will point out that you are wrong, you will mostly waste time arguing against the goals that you try to support. There is another aspect. After a while, if you started researching a subject independently, you will come to the conclusion that there is a limit to how much you can advance your cause without joining a group or movement. You continue spreading your findings as well as everyone else in your group. Like it is often the case, your group will have people with various backgrounds, knowledge and methods, but you are all brought together by either understanding or spreading a set of ideas and behaviors. As I said, there will be people more or less familiar with the subject that you support. We already established that if you want to promote a subject as it is in reality, you should follow the evidence. Different people will be convinced in different ways to do that. If differences in understanding are very large, this will make the movement divided or unbalanced. I will only focus on those who don't understand the concept that you support, either for holding on to a false idea, or by simply not knowing how what they believe doesn't hold up. As a primer to what to do, I recommend having them question what they believe, but slowly, and before anything try to find out what holds them back. Not all people are prepared for major shifts in their way of thinking, thus, when offering them guidance, let them time to think and contemplate. Do this to yourself too. Find someone who understands the subject better than you, and, if what they say is accurate, fit it in your current understanding. This concludes the first basic principle. After this series is finished, I will visit the subject of dogma again and in different circumstances, so in the meantime, do you agree with what I said or how I said it? Is there anything I missed or do you see any ways in which I could have presented this better? Comment below, share and subscribe. I hope you've been re-envisioned and see you next time when I'll be discussing what would happen if members of your group have malicious intents or tactics.